At this time, we'll call the meeting to order. So Section 2 is approval of agenda and changes to the agenda. I do have a change, and that is to the consent agenda. We added item 7.46, which is amended award of ITB 23-06 lawn care services for multiple schools, presented by Vince Wyndham, Program Director of Purchasing, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval.
Move it.
Second.
Thank you. And Dr. White, was that approval for the entire consent agenda? Thank you very
2.1.
much. Thank you so much. And then a reminder.
Just approval of the agenda as amended.
Right.
Approval, yes. And then a reminder that we do have at 6:15 this evening quite a few public hearing items. So at 6:15, we will recess and go into public hearing. That
And
brings us.
We need to vote on the agenda approval.
That's what I was asking the question earlier.
Yep.
So at this time, I need a motion for approving the agenda.
And we've got a motion by Dr. White and a second by Mr. Bryant. Just need a vote of the.
Call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
And it passed unanimously. So that brings us to Section 3, recognitions, and at this time, we have none tonight. Section 4, administrative personnel appointments, and we do have one, appointment of Athletic Director, Baker School.
Thank you, Madam Chair and School Board. I giggled a little bit because I saw Ms. Vanchek's excitement over there. I bring before you Mr. John Carlisle. Mr. Carlisle graduated from Woodham High School in Pensacola in 1989. He then went on to earn an associate's degree from then Pensacola Junior College in 1992. From there, he earned both his bachelor's degree in special education and master's degree in curriculum instruction from the University of West Florida. John began his teaching career 26 years ago in 1998 at his alma mater, Woodham High School, where he taught VE and inclusionary courses, coached baseball, football, and weightlifting for 7 years. In 2005, he made his way to Okaloosa County and is home for the last 18 years at Baker School. During his time at Baker, he has taught special education, middle grades math, algebra, and geometry. Also during the same time frame, he has served as the head softball coach and assistant coach in both football and girls weightlifting. He was selected by his peers as the Teacher of the Year for Baker School in the 2023-2024 school year. It's always a year in the lag. In all, Mr. Carlisle brings 29 years of athletic coaching experience, 18 years as head coach, with him to serve as athletic director of Baker, if appointed. Mr. Carlisle and his wife of 29 years, Tracy, have 2 sons, Bobby and Taylor, along with 4 grandchildren, Lilium, Latham, Araya, and Nolan. Mr. Carlisle is excited, appreciative, and humbled for the opportunity to continue to work with the outstanding administration, faculty, and staff, and add to the athletic history, rich traditions, and excellence of Baker Athletics. Once a Gator, always a Gator. Mr. Carlisle.
All right. So I need a motion.
I think I'll be the one to
I
make
thought you
this
might.
motion.
I thought you might.
I move that we accept the recommendation of John Carlisle for the athletic director at Baker School.
Very good. I need a second.
So moved.
Seconded by Mr. Bryant. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And it passed unanimously. So,
Come on down. If you don't mind, while he's coming down here, I want to tell you a little bit about when I got to meet Coach Carlisle when I became the board member for Baker. You will not find a more enthusiastic, caring for students person than Mr. Carlisle. And one of the first things he did was to ask me to help with getting a new softball scoreboard at their field, which had gone kind of in disarray for many, many years. And I was excited and glad to do that. And I thought, that's just part of what I do. And so to reward me, he decided that I needed to throw the first pitch at their season game, which if you think that's out of my comfort zone, you got it right. But I thought, oh no, I'm their new board member. I'm not letting them down. And so with a little practice and help from my husband and all that, I got out there. I don't think he knew just how nervous I was, but you know, I had just had that one thing to do, and I did it. Then he let me go in there and be in the dugout with the girls, and it was a great experience. And I've just seen the success. I'm telling you, around students, around athletes, he just shines. And when I heard about this recommendation, I could think of no one better to take this position. His skill set, his love for Baker and for students is really going to help bring some programs along that he's done. And Coach, you know I'm going to support you any way I can, and I'm very happy for you to get this assignment. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm feeling about as nervous as you were. A lot of those moments, I guess, for the last couple of days. But first off, I want to thank Mr. Chambers, school board members for accepting my appointment, and the selection committee at Baker for giving me the opportunity and the honor to continue at Baker in this capacity. I got to give a shout out to Ms. Vanchek. Ms. Vanchek, for all of your support during my tenure as head coach at Baker, for Baker softball. I'm extremely grateful and appreciative because those were monumental tasks that we would have never been able to take care of on our own. So I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
To Mr. Martello, Ms. Hurley, Mr. Taylor, and Ms. Richards, thank you for believing enough in me to usher in a new era in Baker School. I also wish to thank the many friends and family and coworkers who encouraged and supported me in this decision, as it was very difficult one to make in leaving the classroom and the various fields of competition on a full-time basis. I am, as Mr. Chambers said, I'm extremely excited and humbled to continue to work with an outstanding staff and faculty at Baker and carry on those histories and traditions that have been set forth at Baker. While the immediate transition has been slightly overwhelming just initially, I'm positive that I'll get my bearings reset to give the staff, the school, the community, and the student athletes at Baker the best version of me going forward. To my deep breath. To my players, I'll always be there for you. Thank you. Lastly, I wouldn't be here today without the love and support of my wife, Tracy, for 29 years. Living the life of a coach's wife. It's not always been the easiest, with the constant up and downs and the last minute changes, but she's always been my toughest critic and my biggest fan. In closing, I may not have been born a Gator. I became a Gator, and I will retire as a Gator. Thank you.
Picture time.
Picture time.
Picture time.
Here, you get in front of me, I'm too tall.
I was trying to.
I can see everybody's face right now. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Smile and wave. I'm gonna take several. Take somebody away. See what, if you will, just slide out just a tad. Go. Right. No, it looks funny with you squatting down and nobody else, so. Yeah. I'm right here in front. Perfect, and everybody's got it. Okay. Good. All right. Smile. Got it. Thank you so much.
And as always, go
Gators!
Gators! Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's gotta be Mama Teresa.
They will leave. Yeah, they don't know. You don't have to put them through the torture.
If y'all would like to escape, we understand if you have other things you need to go do, but you're certainly welcome to stay for the rest of our business meeting if you'd like to do that.
Which is so entertaining.
Thank you so much. So that brings us down to Section 5, Public Comment Agenda Items Only, our blue card version, and we have none this evening. Thank you. Section 6 was for our workshop only. That leaves us to scroll down to Section 8.
Section 7.
7, approval of the agenda. So I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I move it.
Moved by Ms. Evanchik, need a
Second.
second? Second by Ms. Gardner, all in favor?
Aye.
And it passed unanimously. Section 8. Superintendent's Human Resources Recommendation. 8.1 was information only, as was 8.2. 8.3, out-of-field report for the 2023-2024 school year, presented by Sharon Duran, Program Director, Professional Services. I need a motion.
So
I'll
moved.
move.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Gardner, seconded by Mr. Bryant. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and it passes unanimously. 8.4, request to advertise a public hearing for adoption of a new job description for district coordinator, presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent for approval. Need a motion.
Move it.
Moved by Dr. White,
Second.
second by Ms. Evanchik. All in favor?
Aye.
And that passes unanimously as well. 8.5, master contract between the School Board of Okaloosa County and the Okaloosa Education Staff Professionals, presented by Dr. Hale.
I'll move it.
Moved by Ms. Gardner,
Second.
second by Ms. Evanchik. All in favor?
Aye.
And that also carried unanimously. 8.6, addendum to the master contract between the School Board of Okaloosa County and the Okaloosa County Education Association. Need a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Bryant,
Second.
seconded by Dr. White. All in favor?
Aye.
And that carried unanimously as well. 8.7, employment separations, presented by Dr. Hale.
I'll move it.
Moved by Ms. Evanchik,
Second.
second by Mrs. Gardner. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried unanimously. 8.8, personnel recommendations, presented by Dr. Hale.
I'll
So-
move it.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Gardner, seconded by Mr. Bryant. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried unanimously. 8.9, employee transfers, presented by Dr. Hale. Need a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Bryant,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Evanchik. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried unanimously. 8.10, employee suspension, presented by Dr. Hale.
I'll move it.
Moved by Ms. Evanchik,
Second.
seconded by Mrs. Gardner. All in favor?
Aye.
Carries unanimously. 8.11, reinstatement, reimbursement of sick leave due to line of duty illness, injury, or medical examination, presented by Dr. Hale.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Dr. White, seconded by Mr. Bryant. All in favor?
Aye.
And that carried unanimously. 8.12, leave without pay, presented by Dr. Hale.
Move it.
Moved by Mr. Bryant,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Evanchik. All in favor?
Aye.
Carries unanimously. Thank you. It is 6:15, and at this time, we need to recess and go into public hearing, and we have several of those items. If you'll scroll down to Section 15, Public Hearing. 15.1 is for information only, and public input only, requires no action, and that one is public hearing on the school district's 5-year capital outlay plan, presented by Julie Perry. Is anyone here to address that item this evening? Seeing none, we'll move to 15.2. Excuse me.
Let's
Oh, we
take-
have to vote.
Let me make a motion
Make
for
a motion.
15.1.
Thank you.
Well, there's not a.
There's,
Yeah,
vote
it's
on
not
that.
for approval, that's,
Public.
yeah.
Just review the capital 5-year
Okay.
outlay.
But I can be easily swayed to
Information.
take a vote. 15.1 was required no action, it was for public input only. 15.2, I believe our attorney wants to make a statement there.
Yes, ma'am. 15.2, required local effort millage rate, and that rate is 3.2290 mils.
All right,
Okay.
this is
This
an
is
action item, and I'll make
action.
that motion.
Thank you, Dr. White. Makes the motion, I need a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bryant, all in favor?
Is there
Aye.
a public comment on that item?
Anybody to comment? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
And that carries unanimously. 15.3.
15.3, basic discretionary operating millage rate, and that is 0.7480 mils.
Is there anyone here to speak to this item? Seeing none, I need a motion.
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Gardner, seconded by Mr. Bryant. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. 15.4.
15.4, capital outlay millage rate, which is 1.5000 mils.
Is there anyone here to speak to 15.4? Seeing none, I need a motion.
I'll move it.
Moved by Mrs. Evancheck,
Second.
second by Mr. Bryant. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that carried unanimously. 15.5.
15.5 is the total millage levy, which is 5.4770 mils.
Thank you. Is anyone here to speak to 15.5? Seeing none, I need a motion.
I'll move it.
Moved by Ms. Gardner.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Ms. Evancheck. All in favor?
Aye.
That carries unanimously. 15.6.
15.6 is Resolution 23-05, adopting the tentative millage rates for fiscal year 2023-2024.
Anyone here to speak to 15.6? Seeing none, I need a motion.
I'll move it.
Moved by Dr. White.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Bryant. All in favor?
Aye.
Carries unanimously. 15.7.
15.7 is the preliminary and tentative budget general fund, and that amount is $406,534,132.82.
Is there anyone here to speak to 15.7? Seeing none, I need a motion.
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Gardner, seconded by Mr. Bryant. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that carries unanimously. 15.8.
15.8 is the preliminary and tentative budget special revenue funds food service for fiscal year 2023-2024, and that amount is $25,155,364.50.
Is anyone here to speak to 15.8? Seeing none, I need a motion.
Move it.
Moved by Mr. Bryant.
Second.
Seconded by Dr. White.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And carried unanimously. 15.9.
15.9 is the preliminary and tentative budget special revenue funds, other federal programs, Fund 420, and that amount is $25,843,381.28.
Is there anyone here to speak to 15.9? Seeing none, I need a motion.
I'll move it.
Moved by Ms. Gardner.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Ms. Evancheck. All in favor?
Aye.
And that carries unanimously. 15.10.
15.10 is the preliminary and tentative budget special revenue funds, CRRSA Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief 2, ESSER 2, Fund 443, and that amount is $184,770.39.
Is there anyone here to speak to 15.10? Seeing none, I need a motion.
Move it.
Moved by Mr. Bryant,
Second.
seconded by Mrs. Gardner. All in favor?
Aye.
And that carries unanimously. 15.11.
15.11 is the preliminary and tentative budget special revenue funds, ARP, elementary and secondary school emergency relief 3, ESSER 3, Fund 445. The amount is $4,615,875.93.
Thank you. Is anyone here to speak to 15.11? Seeing none, I need a motion.
Move it.
Moved by Mr. Bryant,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Gardner. All in favor?
Aye.
And that carries unanimously. 15.12.
15.12 preliminary and tentative budget special revenue funds, other ARP Act relief, Fund 446, and that amount is $509,412.82.
Thank you. Is anyone here to speak to 5.12? Seeing none, I need a motion.
Move it.
Moved by Dr. White,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Bryant. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that carries unanimously. 15.13.
Preliminary and tentative budget special revenue funds, miscellaneous internal funds, Fund 490, and that amount is $18,762,516.61.
Is anyone here to speak to 15.13? Seeing none, I need a motion.
I'll move it.
Moved by Ms. Evanchik. Need a second.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Bryant. All in favor?
Aye.
And that carries unanimously. 15.14.
This is preliminary and tentative budget debt service funds, and the amount is $21,652,973.26.
Is anyone here to speak to 15.14? Seeing none, I need a motion.
I'll
So
move
moved.
it.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Gardner, seconded by Mr. Bryant. All in favor?
Aye.
It carries unanimously. 15.15.
This is preliminary and tentative budget capital project funds, and that amount is $207,373,927.79.
Is anyone here tonight to speak to 15.15? Seeing no one, I need a motion.
I'll move it.
Moved by Ms. Gardner.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Ms. Evanchik. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that carries unanimously. 15.16.
This is preliminary and tentative budget internal service funds, and that amount is $46,263,316.72.
Is anyone here to speak to 15.16? Seeing none, I need a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Bryant.
Second.
Second by Dr. White. All in favor?
Aye.
And
Aye.
that carries unanimously. 15.17.
This is the preliminary and tentative budget total for fiscal year 2023-2024, and that amount is $756,895,672.12.
Is anyone here to speak to 15.17? Seeing none, I need a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Bryant,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Gardner. All in favor?
Aye.
And that carries unanimously. 15.18.
This is Resolution 23-06, adopting the Okaloosa County School District preliminary and tentative budget for fiscal year 2023-2024.
Is anyone here to speak to 15.18? Seeing none, I need a motion.
Move it.
Moved by Dr. White,
I'll second it.
Third.
seconded by Ms. Evanchik.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that carries unanimously. And that brings us to 15.19, which is public hearing for the adoption of the elementary and secondary codes of student conduct for the 2023-2024 school year, presented by Brian Humphrey. I need a motion.
I'll move it.
Oh, is anyone here to address that topic?
Yep.
Seeing none, it's been moved by Ms. Evanchik. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Gardner. All in favor?
Aye.
Carries unanimously. 15.20, Public hearing for the adoption of revised School Board Policy 04-12, Student Technology Acceptable Use Policy, presented by Eric Mitchell. Is anyone here to address 15.20? Seeing no one, I need a motion.
I'll move it.
Moved by Ms. Gardner.
Second.
Second by Dr. White. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That carries unanimously. 15.21, public hearing for the adoption of revised School Board Policy 04-32, Discipline, presented by Brian Humphrey. Anyone here to address 15.21? Seeing none, I need a motion.
Move it.
Moved by Dr. White,
Second.
second by Mr. Bryant. All in favor?
Aye.
And that carried unanimously. 15.22, public hearing for the adoption of revised School Board Policies, Chapter 5, Student Education Records, presented by Eric Mitchell. Is anyone here to speak to 15.22? Seeing none, I need a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Bryant,
Second.
second by Ms. Gardner. I need a motion. Call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And it carried unanimously. Thank you. Anyone else have a comment from the staff for the public good? No one from the executive staff? Thank you. Thank you for all of your hard work on these items. Jordan's not here. Angelique, no comment? Okay. Anything?
That takes us back now to section 10,
Section 10, thank you.
because there was nothing on your discussion agenda.
That's right. Thank you so much. So scrolling back up to Section 10, Construction Program Owners Representatives Business, Mr. Bryant.
Nothing else to report that wasn't already this morning, except for that the Citizens Advisory Committee will be meeting here tomorrow at 4 p.m. So.
At 4. Thank you. And that brings us to 10.2, TPM Program Number 6, Task Order Number 2, Scope Modification Number 6, Fencing and Canopy Revisions, presented by Dr. Bill Smith. I need a motion.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Dr. White, seconded by Mr. Bryant. All in favor?
Aye.
And that carried unanimously. 10.2, TPM Program Number 6, Task Order Number 23, Pre-GMP for High School Auditorium Upgrades to be converted to a Time and Material Task Order, presented by Dr. Smith. I need a motion.
I'll move it.
Moved by Ms.
I'll
Gardner,
second.
seconded by Ms. Evanchik. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And it carries unanimously. That brings us to Section 11, Attorney's Business.
No report tonight.
Thank you. Section 12, Superintendent.
Thank you, ma'am. Nothing further tonight.
Thank you for those thorough reports this morning. Good information. That brings us to Section 13, Board Members' Announcements and/or Requests for Information. And I'll start with Ms. Gardner.
I don't have anything
Thank you.
to add from this morning.
Thank you. Ms. Evanchik?
One thing is, we got to get on the dental services bus
Mhm.
after our workshop. That's very impressive, and I'm very glad that we have that. I believe there are 2 of them, and it's amazing. That's a great thing that we have, and of course, that doesn't cost us anything. What a wonderful service for that. And then I just want to say, believe it or not, when we meet again, school will have started. That
pretty
is
amazing.
unbelievable. So I want to wish everyone a great getting started again. It's always important that those first few days setting the tone, and I'm excited about it. I think we're going to have another great year and coming off so many wonderful things out of this year. So I'm just wishing, I know this time as an educator is just, it's antsy. You're just ready to go and all that anticipation. So just wishing everyone well.
Thank you. Mr. Bryant?
Nothing really that I didn't say this morning, but I did want to say thank you to our school board attorney. This is the time of the year where he is staying pretty busy with interpreting the law and bringing it back to us. I know anytime that we need advice or assistance, he's there for us. But especially this year, the challenges that we've had with all the laws that are coming down. But just wanted to say thank you for all your hard work and effort to help get that to us and interpret that to us and help us better understand the law. So.
Dr. White?
Well, just to say thank you for the birthday celebration and welcome me to the new decade. So, but thank you all for doing that. I'm very grateful. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
That's all.
And I'll just end by saying that thank you to Dr. White for filling in for me at the agenda meeting Monday while I was out doing Hope Squad conference. I very much appreciate that. And thank you for helping me in many other ways as well. I do
Well, I'll lead
appreciate
you
that.
astray, so be
No,
careful.
no, never. And I'll just close with saying that parents, please go to your school's website and look for school readiness information. I mentioned that about the Ruckle Rams this morning, but almost all of our schools are offering School Readiness Day this year, so please go online and see when your particular student's Readiness Day is, and be prepared for this new school year coming up right away. And that's all that I have. Thank you so much. This meeting is adjourned.
Let's check number 14, see if there's any other public comment.
Oh, thank you. Going back to 14, anybody for public comment for the yellow card version? Seeing none? Now we can adjourn. Thank you, Mr. McGinnis.